Miners. My name is Chaos. I am joined tonight by two of my co-casters, Light and Shin. We are bringing you the quarterfinals of Season 4 Tier 5. This is the Week 2 of the playoffs. We have Hat Tricks versus Moonfae tonight. And the map pool that we have for tonight is Nepal, Watchpoint Gibraltar, Hollywood, and as a fourth and fifth map, if we get that far, is Numbani and Busan. This is the first time that all three of us are casting a Tier 5 game this evening. So it's a new experiment for us, and it's the first time all three of us are here at the same time. So what's going to happen is Shin and Light are going to be casting the main portion of this, and I'm going to be bringing you information in between maps about what's to come in the next coming weeks. As far as different tiers, what we observed during each map in terms of what team strategies both teams brought to the table on each map. So we're hoping it'll be an interesting new setup for us tonight that maybe we'll be able to do more often. So I hope you guys enjoy this match tonight and hope you guys enjoy our commentary this evening.
Alright, okay, because thank you Chaos for that lovely introduction. Because miles better than my own. Appreciate it.
I felt like I was here. You know, it's very professional. Chaos makes me reconsider if I should take enunciation lessons.
Yeah, well, I gave up on my pronunciation a long time ago, so.
But I think we are very excited for tonight. I've only can dream to play Tier 5. I am just a regular plat, but I'm interested in seeing kind of like the more top tier, strategies going into this game tonight, especially since we are kind of friends with some of the people on both teams.
Oh yes, of course. But I do apologise for the delay because one of the players on Moonfae because he's having some voice issues, and so they just restarting their console.
You would think we would have gotten better at cross-console by now, but it still seems to be...
No.
Maybe we'll get it better when we all get the chip, in our brains eventually.
The chip in our brains. Oh yeah, definitely, but because this is what I've casted, because there's always going to be issues, because I imagine we've had issues in every game so far, because I know the games that I have done personally. Because we've had a couple... Alright. Alright then, because to pass the time, because why don't we talk about Nepal? And the sort of comps that we expect to see, right?
Oh man. Well, this is all about who gets to point first for all 3 points, just because you just kind of need to hold, those particular spaces. So I'm expecting to see like a lot of high-level Lucio going on here. Maybe also probably Moira to kind of follow up on the Lucio, but they're going to be about speed here, I think.
Oh yes, definitely, because I would not be shocked if we saw some Symmetra May potentially on the DPS lineups.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially on the 1 point, which name I can't remember, but where it's got the 2 doors on either side. Because you tend to see a lot of May flare on there to isolate them inside a small room. Alright,
yeah, I think the structure of Nepal lends itself to kind of structuring off May walls and Symmetra walls. You completely change the terrain. But it looks like we're ready, potentially?
Maybe, because I think they're just listening to voice issue. Oh yeah, but but I do think we will see more brawl comps. Because based off the need for speed, because we might see like a pharmacy sometimes, because I'll echo, because I forget I can't speak. Oh, okay, just give me 1 second, because I just need to do a spectator who has just came in. And then we should be ready to go.
Yes, it looks like Sneaky Squid has joined us, and how sneaky?
Oh yes, because I do like a sneaky pun, because anyone who watched my Tier 3 game last night is probably sick of them by now. Alright, so the sake of everyone watching, because let's hope that he is, because he does not flare a lot tonight. But I do apologise for the puns if he does, and I think we are ready, so we will be going into map 1.
Let's do it.
Alright, because just give me a second to double check the server, because I'm paranoid. Because the disadvantage of being EU. Okay, and in we go. Alright, okay, because the map pool tonight is very interesting, because I think it favours dive, I think it favours dive comps in what more than the maps we saw last week. Because especially with Gibraltar.
Looks like we're about to start seeing some picks here. Lots of strategizing, I'm sure, going on about how to best contest this map, especially with the free pit. I'm hoping to see a couple boob kills myself, honestly.
Oh yes, of course, because what I'm imagining we'll see is the, because both sides play the whistle and just play the corners, because that's what you tend to see in high level play.
Ready for battle.
Oh, and like you called it, we have in the universe 2 Orisas and 2 Sigmas so far.
Oh yes, it is the famous double shield of both sides of the Orisa Sigma. Oh, okay, that is interesting, because our teammate Control is playing tank. I expected him to play DPS tonight.
Looks like he's going to be showing off some of his other skills.
Oh yes, because I've seen his tank like first hand. It's pretty good, but I'm interested to see if he can hang with tier 5.
It looks like only one team chose a Lucio, so we'll kind of see about the first touch here. But it looks like both teams are moving pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, like it was just a speed boost out of the spawn, the Lucio, because now we have Mercy back and back to Yatta. Because that is a lot of damage on the side of Patrick Swayze with the Ash Hanzo Baptiste, because compared to the Tracer Soldier, Mercy Baptiste of Moonfae.
We do have Wasabi here, touching point here, but just enough to kind of distract them a little bit, but they are still taking this fight on the right side very seriously.
Oh, it's a... Alright, okay, because the cap goes the way of Patrick Swayze, because after getting 2 opening picks on the Whistle and Tracer. Alright, because this is going to be very difficult for Moonfae to take this point back as double shield.
Yeah, it looks like Patrick is playing it smart by keeping up on this right side, because it gives them very good sight lines on wherever the team is going, and they're coming up on some ultimates as well here.
Oh yes, because on the side of Moonfae on the other hand, because he only has the portals, his Valak is used early. Just flying possible. And like, here comes the Dragon by Kinzo. Because it does not get a pick, but it does force out immortality build, which is very big in this sort of matchup. Alright, because Dragon has now got Bob online, and we have Supercharge online for Gecko. Alright, but Gecko does fall to Kabaji on that piece.
Yeah, and it looks like Latimer is taking some opportunity here to push up on the team, but stopped a little bit by a Bob, but it looks like they're still going to go and take his Baptiste with him.
Oh yes, of course, because this is fantastic. Commentator's curse. I was about to play as Wasabi. That is unfortunate. Alright, but now we are seeing the pharmacy off the side of Moonfae, which I did expect to see. Alright, because
followed by a Mercy
the
Pocket and a Baptiste.
Oh yes, because Moonfae, because now have got the point. Alright, because that was a big investment on the side of Patrick Swayze though, because we was in both the portals and still losing the fight.
Yeah, Far's taking some shots kind of on their transition around the point. Looks like they're taking the scenic route, but to meet, you know, the back of Moonfae here. And it looks like they get a pick on Soldier, who gets immediately called back. There's a Sigma right on top of him here.
Oh yes, his Sigma ult used by Wasabi and Supercharge used by Gecko. Because they really want fast kills and get this point back.
Yeah, great use of Immor by Kabaji there. Saved them from the slams of a Sigma breaking their ankles, but it looks like, you know, Patrick still kind of wants to move on this point as we have our Orisa on the bottom here, ready to kind of contest this moment.
Oh yes, agreed. Because I'd like to play Dragon at the moment because he's getting a lot of opening picks as Ash. Because his use of Bob, because the team just now is very effective to control the point, and they now take the point back from Moonfae. Alright, he's looking at the old ult economy, because on the side Patrick Swayze, because we have Dragons and Window coming up, and on the side of Moonfae, because they just have Rocket Barrage. But Rocket Barrage can get a lot of value, because if they get Sneaky Fang way off. And so let's get on board with the Flower.
I think they can move quickly here. Cecilia and Soldier is going to build up that visor. She gets a couple of decent hits, and they probably would contest with both DPS ults
it's
here.
a big pick on Hamza, and another big boot off the Flower.
Huge. The Ashe saves herself with the coach gun, however. That visor does come online. Finds Sigma.
Oh yes, because fantastic new supplies with regards to Cecilia. Alright, okay, but they do have the barrage, and we are potentially heading into what fight towers are we?
It looks like for Moonfae here, they're going to have not only Barrage, but Sig and Baptiste ult, and possibly Mercy ult too.
It's a very interesting power spot there, but the Mercy gives them away. Because Sigma ult is used by Latimer, but Contended is used by Glaziant. And Kabanji falls through the counter game. They need to touch though.
A double grab off the side. Amazing.
Oh yes, because point winning that. Because absolutely point winning because of control on the Orisa. Alright.
For a second, it looked like it was going to go to Patrick Swayze there, but that double grab off the side totally sent it in Moonfae's direction.
Oh yes, because I agree. Because you wanted Boop Swipe, and I think we got 4 or 5 there, so you definitely got your wish.
Let's see if we have any changes. We have Dragon for Patrick Swayze pulling out the Symmetra. Oh, yeah. And Cecilia here.
4, 3,
oh yeah, this is a very good point for Symmetra.
Round 2. Capture the objective.
Alright, because we do see control on his trademark ball. Alright, but which is very different to the Reinhardt Sigma because of Patrick Swayze. Because those Symmetra would cause a lot of damage to the team with Patrick Swayze got. Because that pharmacy is also very uncontested and he's getting a lot of early picks.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see how like no shield versus double shield kind of gets played out here, but with 2 Symmetras kind of adding their own additional damage, but it looks like Moonfae takes the point here.
Oh yes, that's a very interesting topic you bring up. Because having the 2 shields, because it actually puts the Symmetra team at a disadvantage in the mirror. Because the Symmetra can just build up charge because of the 2 shields, and basically turn into a God of War. So...
yeah, level 3 charge Symmetra makes my palms sweat, so I can only imagine that they might end up making some changes here. But they will try again, it looks like, with the first engagement on the right.
Oh yes, but they do get the Ana, which is a big opening pick, because that is the main halo gone. But this is a very nice comp of Moonfae, though, because like, you can reach a lot of contests because of the Ball and Diva. Because both of them don't really need the Ana here to stay alive either, and mine's been used early by control. Because Fantastic Purple though, because I could actually, but there's no bottle, and Shatter is moved by Gecko. But the farm
it's like Wendy's doing all she can at the end of that Mercy boss there, so she's just seeing what she can get out of the value of the 2 tanks who were left.
Oh yeah, because this is a really good hold by... because this is a really good soul to play that Moonfae.
And now Patrick Swayze grabs point for the first time. 75% though for Moonfae, so if there's a decent fight going on here, it probably can turn, but if they can hold, they should be very good on time here.
Oh yes, because I agree. Because they do have a sound barrier online, because to try and counter, because what Moonfae bought them. Because I'm expecting to see a Nano Flower perhaps. I like Farah's looking for the Mirage.
Nano 5 Mirage.
It's an effective combo. I don't even know if he got that Mirage. It's hard to tell in the Oh, Soul Divider getting value though, but... Oh wow, because this Fowler player though, because he's really good for the issue part of Swayze.
Yeah, Hat-Trick looking like they wanted Lucio to kind of contest for a bit of extra time, but he does not make it, so it looks like they're going to have to come back pretty quickly with all the ultimates, McCree, Baptiste, and Shatter online to change the tide of this last fight if they want to take this point back.
Oh yes, because because early Minefield is because it's used by control on the hammers. Because it's trying to tap away them.
It's a bit of containing, but Reinhardt is down. He is officially down.
Yep.
Followed by Sig, then Dragon, and McCree on the left, outside, taken down.
Oh yes, because that's just the power because of our high charge service in a small area. Because they were there picking up 4 kills.
Victory.
Moonfae takes map 1.
Oh yes, because fantastic play off Moonfae. Because there were a couple of people doubted, to be honest, because they are a newly formed team, because from what I've been told, but it definitely did not look like it in that first map.
Yeah, they were very coordinated and very conscious about like their choices. We have the double grab off the side here is play.
It was round winning and also semi-match winning. So I have no argument with that.
Great effort by both teams to kind of play to their strengths there and make changes as needed, but I was really happy to see the Symmetra on Nepal as always.
Oh yes, because Symmetra is always very strong. Because especially if you get the first cap. Because like she is more of a defensive hero than offense.
Absolutely, and I think also picking the Lucio too kind of added to, you know, that element of speed that they would need to kind of set up for him. But in the end, I think double shield into no shield kind of showed us like what can be possible if there's a little bit more chaos going on. And speaking of chaos, do you have any middle info for us?
Yes, I do. For the next upcoming weeks, for Tier 2, we have the first 2 games of the losers bracket for round 1, which are the games that we will see next week. For the first game, we have Royalty Raw Pawns going up against Hydra. Then we have Crimson Dragons going up against Morrigan. Those games we will be casting next week in week 3 of the playoffs, and those maps will be featuring Oasis, Havana, then King's Row, everybody's fan favorite, and for maps 4 and 5, if needed, we'll go to Anubis and Ilios. Now, as far as the rest of Tier 2, the semifinals will actually take place not next week, but the week after. That will be the semifinals and the losers round 2 bracket. But for just next week, it's just the losers round 1 series. But for the semifinals, we will have Odin's Chosen, who won last night's game that I casted, going up against Gangrene Gang, who was supposed to play today, but their opponents unfortunately had to forfeit their game today because of medical concerns that some of their players had. So those 2 teams will be heading to the semifinals 2 weeks from now, and next week we will have the first 2 games of the losers round 1. I have seen all 4 of those teams play in action before. I'm sure both you and Jack Light have seen at least a couple of those teams play before. I know me and Queen seen Morrigan play. I've seen Crimson Dragons play before. As far as those 4 teams, how do you think those games will play out?
I think when Crimson Dragons goes up against Morrigan, it's going to be a face-off that is going to have a little bit of bite extra in it because Crimson and Morrigan have seen each other throughout the season, and I used to coach for Crimson Dragons, so I know that they are like a you know, even if they seem down, they're like a comeback team. So I'm expecting them to. This week might have been a little tough for them going up against Odin's Chosen, who they also played before. But with EU ping and, you know, new elements and things like that, it's a little bit tougher. But I think in, you know, with their downtime, and they're for sure practicing to go up against Morrigan again and try to, you know, show them how they've grown so far.
Royalty, Raw Pawns, and Hydra. I seen them play before. I believe their standings in the regular season were. See if I can find it. They went 6-1 in the regular season, just before the playoffs started, and Hydra also went 6-1. So they are tied in the playoffs right now. So it's literally evenly matched going into that second round. So as far as Crimson Dragons and Morrigan, Crimson went 6-2 in the regular season, and Morrigan went 7-1. So like you said, it'll be a nail biter for both of them going into that, because they both did very well during the regular season. But as far as the semifinals are concerned, Odin's Chosen is still currently undefeated. They've gone the entire season and no one's been able to bring them down yet. So odds are heavily in their favor for the rest of the playoff season. So Gangrene Gang, when they face them 2 weeks from now, they got a tough fight ahead of them, because that's not going to be easy to give them their first loss.
I feel like there will be a lot of pressure on these games in the coming weeks, because they, you know, they still want to make sure that they make it, and so I think we're in for an interesting week between, you know, Morrigan and Crimson Dragons and Hydra and why is my brain not working?
Which Royalty Fawns was it? Because like I've not been
yeah,
allowed to
Royalty Pawns. Thank you. Yes.
Oh
so
yeah,
I think
like you know,
we're in
because
for like
I've
an
been
interesting work week.
Oh yeah, because sorry about not talking, because I was just doing the swaps and talking to both captains, because talking of interesting weeks, because we are ready to start map 2 of this series.
Where are we going, Jack?
Alright, because we're going to the home of Overwatch, Watchpoint Gibraltar.
I'll see you guys after the map.
Thank you, Chaos, for your commentary.
Oh yes, because very insightful. Because I'd like to apologise to the fans, because a sneaky Swayze is sneaking into the game. So, get ready for the puns. And in
is he like John Cena? Will we see him? Is he that sneaky?
Oh yes, because I'm not really sure, but I do like the animal synergy of it up on their tank line though, because of a gecko and a sneaky sword.
Initiating match.
Alright, because I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see Gibraltar actually, because this is the first time. Because this is the first time we've seen Gibraltar in a while. Because it's a very different style of map, because compared to like every other map in Overwatch, because it's very dive focused, because with multiple high grounds.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of places to go. Widow tends to be very popular here too, because of the spaceship for second point here, which is easy if you want to get your head clocked off at, you know, whatever range is comfortable for them.
It's a very dangerous spaceship. That is for sure. Alright, okay, because on the side of Patrick Swayze, because we are seeing the classic Winston, D.Va, Mercy and a dive. Because of a Tracer Soldier on the DPS, because what I imagine is going to happen is that the Tracer is going to try and poke with the Winston, because it is the classic duo of original Overwatch before the changes. And we're probably going to see Quarterfinal on the Soldier, because stay on the high ground with a Mercy Pocket, and just Wayne Death on the gun.
Yeah, it looks like Vertigo, who was originally playing Widow, switched to Genji, probably got a whiff of Chlorine over there on the Soldier, so he's looking to give him a little bit of a contesting, especially with the pocket.
Oh yes, because on the side of Moonfae, we are seeing the ball Winston, because you don't normally see as a combo, but it can definitely work.
Yeah, it looks like we have Vladimir up top, kind of just giving them a little run for their money with a little bit of a poking there. We do lose control on the ball, unfortunately, but it looks like they're moving point pretty smoothly here.
Alright, because the soldier's clawing and the damage boost, he's getting a water battle with you because of his 2 kills so far. Because he's gonna need to get contested at some point. Because I was not expecting the Anna to drop so early. Because she's leaving herself open to a dive now, as the Winston indeed does that. Fantastic sweep though.
Yeah, I hope that Wendy's Mercy underneath can get out pretty safely. It looks like they were taking around people around her. It looks like Control picks her up. She might be able to keep moving, but I spoke too soon because Dragon takes her out.
Oh yes, but that's what you expect from Tracer though, because she is the assassin. Because she will not let you get out for free.
I have your back.
Alright, okay, so let's watch the Genji. Because let's watch the Genji for a tiny bit, because he is close to Blade. I'm expecting to see a Nano Blade. And so it's going to be interesting to see, because if Vazian gets sleep on this Genji.
Yeah, looks like Dragon did use Pulse Bomb, but didn't quite find anybody, so there are some ultimates being used. Sushi pulls off the Mercy Bout. We have a couple ults going on right now.
It's a fantastic counter by Pauline though. Because with the visor, because I'm not watching him, but I assume he's got the nano there to get that many kills.
Yeah, it looks like Moonfae went through their ult economy pretty quickly with Sneaky Squid, the only one coming up on an ult here.
Oh yes, because he is giving up Genji, because which I thought he might have to refill for it. Alright, because Diva Bomb... Alright, because the Diva Bomb Sneaky Squid, because could be big. Because there's no shield on the side of Moonfae apart from the Winston bubble, which has been committed early. The Manfield has also been inside control at some point.
Yeah, it looks like Dragon's just waiting on the bottom to kind of cause problems for anybody that goes underneath, because he got a pick on Ana just now, so I think he's waiting for another just careful and, you know, misunderstood bystander to pick them off. But it looks like he's going up top here to do a little bit of scouting on Vertigo taken out.
There's another big street by Vasu. Here comes the Diva Bomb, the point cleaner. Alright, because Vazian is really proving himself because as an annihilator. Because with multiple good sleeps, and also managing to kill both tanks in that fight.
30 seconds.
Alright, because Moonfae now have 30 seconds to push it in. So
look, Sneaky Squid is not letting anybody have any of the high ground, okay?
It's fantastic Diva for us, okay? Because that's what Diva has to do is control the stage. Fantastic purple there on Latin. Oh, we have a Nano Winston.
Nano Winston. About to cause some problems in the backline. Hopefully they can all move pretty quickly. Vertigo gets Chlorine. Gecko gets Celia. There's a res on Chlorine though.
Yep. Here's Winston. He's going to kill the Ash also. Fantastic Winston first, Gecko. Here comes the Manfield.
I hope they continue to touch because they are so close, but
no,
it
I think
looks
it's over.
like...
It was fantastic for Gecko there because I think he killed both DPS and both tanks with his nano and final. Because it's always a joy to see good Winston play. I can't do it myself personally, so I do envy the good Winstons.
Initiating match.
It's a very fun hero.
I can only say that I have made attempts at Winston.
Oh yes, I used to make attempts at tank, but then I realised I was not good and moved to support. And I am more happy therefore it.
Whoa. I'm taking a little bit of a... I am a support tier. Are you saying that you moved to support because you had to? Because it should be a want, okay? Support is chef's kiss. It's stressful though. I have grey hairs from playing this game.
Ready.
Oh yes. Oh yes, because it wasn't a want, because it was more a realisation that my personality fitted support more. Because as a team medic, because rather than the person who gets all the kills.
Incoming in 30 seconds.
I feel like for me there's too much pressure. I think DPS I probably would like black out because there's just so much pressure to do your job, but I feel with support we get a little bit more fun out of the game just because like we have to just make sure people aren't dead. With a Winston play like that, like what we just seen, he just cleared the point, so he would have been expected to kind of make sure that he maintained that space, which is too much pressure for me.
5, 4.
Oh yes, because of course, I definitely agree. But you do play Baptiste while you were, as you definitely know how to deal out the damage also. Alright, he's back to this game because we see. Alright, because we see the same comp off the side of Swayze and Moonfae went back to their Orisa base comp, which worked for them so well in the first round. Well, the first map of the first round. Interesting jump off definitely. Because that's another big purple on the Diva besides Vazian. Because he's really top tier Anno player, because he's 700 to Nano already. Because the Sailor goes down early to 4 lanes. Because this is not looking good for Moonfae. He's in the back line, Gecko. He nearly gets out 15 health.
And it looks like Sneaky Squid is making sure that he stays like right on top of Vladimir's Diva, just meeting her every chance he gets, and he's on the bottom making quite some space here, controlling this point.
Oh yes, because it's all Quarterfinal at the moment, picking up 3 kills, and that looks like it's over for Moonfae and Revolta.
Ooh, that was fast. Patrick Swayze pulls out the W quickly.
Oh
I can't even tell you how long that game was.
Play of the game.
Oh yes, but you have to give it a big shout out, because to Gecko and Winston, because Vazian and Anna keeping it up, because also Twirly, fantastic goal to play that entire map.
There's Chlorine here, just on fire from the Nano and a damage boost there.
Wonderful tracking though. Alright, okay, so the score is now 1-1 in a series between Patrick Swayze and Moonfae, and the next map will be Hollywood, because the home of the SARS.
I wonder if Diva records all her movies there if she does it in South Korea.
Alright, because based off Overwatch War, because I'd imagine South Korea, because they are constantly under attack.
That's a very good point there.
Alright, okay, so now I need to do my admin duties, so I will be quiet for a bit, and so I will leave it to you in Chaos.
Absolutely. Chaos, any thoughts on this recent game or any more news for us?
From what I've seen in this game from Tier 5, since this is the first one that I've casted, it's exactly what I expected to see. I know I haven't been in the upper tiers in regular competitive for quite some time. It's been probably about 2 years. The highest I ever reached was the Master League, so I'm kind of familiar with the layout of how these teams play towards the upper tier. So they did it exactly as they should. They stayed formed up, especially when it's a payload map such as this. When they lost 1 or 2 people, they regrouped. They did not push in like some other teams would. They would still try to fight for it, but when you're up this high on the leaderboard, when you lose 1 person, that's a huge disadvantage for you going into team fight. So they had to be very careful, but the supports, like you said during the game, they play a very crucial role this high up in the tier. They are the most high value target, even more so than the DPS and the tanks, because of what they bring to the game. They keep everybody alive. They keep the fight going. So if you get rid of them, you got an easy job ahead of you. So Winston on both sides was doing phenomenal of keeping that pressure on them, keeping them off balance, keeping Wendy and the other supports at bay. They had to really fight to get to their team, so they really did their job exceptionally well. But as far as Tier 5 in the playoffs, we have the losers bracket. We have Red Yokis, I believe that's what how you say that name. They were supposed to go up against Rev Amp, but that match is forfeited because apparently that team dropped out. And the loser of tonight's game will move on to the losers bracket, but their opponent also dropped out, so they will move on to round 2, where it'll be Red Yokis versus the losers of tonight's game. So no matter who loses tonight, they're not eliminated from the playoffs. Do not get that mistaken. Neither team will be eliminated from the playoffs. They just move to a lower bracket where they have to fight their way to the finals. So they can still make it all the way to the end and face the winning team. They just have another challenge ahead of them to get there. But as far as the winner of tonight, they will move on to the semifinals to face Ohana Beach. I have not seen them in action before, being this is the only Tier 5 game that I think any of us have casted so far with this new setup that we're trying out. So it's a new adjustment for all of us. But seeing how well Tier 5 plays, it gives us, even us as spectators, an insight as to how we can improve ourselves when we play if we're in the lower tiers. So like we can learn as far as what team strategies they use, when they push in, when they hold back, how they use their ultimates. You can learn a lot from these guys being this high up. I know I've studied a lot of Tier 5 teams when I've watched them play before, and I've used it in competitive personally because I am also a support main, so I know that when I'm targeted, I gotta have mobility to get out, whether I'm as Moira, Lucio, Mercy, Zenyatta. Like if I'm playing Zenyatta and I go up against a Tracer, I know I can't stay Zen. I gotta switch because his mobility is very limited. So I gotta switch to somebody who's got a lot of mobility, either Mercy or Moira, so I can either fight her off or regroup with the team to keep them in the fight.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, it was scaring me a little bit. I'm a support main as well, and I am a huge fan of like Moira's ability to just go from point A to point B very quickly, and so I was getting like nervous watching Dragon sit underneath the bridge while he waited for you know, I think Wendy, who was playing Ana before, to come down the hill to get taken out. I was so nervous, but I think, you know, in that case, I probably would have also went Moira, but she did end up changing there at the end to kind of make sure they could all have one final regroup, and whew, man, they were looking for the supports like crazy, and it just, like, my palms were sweaty, you know, mom spaghetti and all that.
Yeah, that's the difference between like Tier 1 and Tier 5. A lot of times up until about Tier 3, you'll notice they tend to not ignore, but sideline the supports, since they figure, okay, the tank is right in front of me, I'm going to take this guy out first, and then get the support behind him. Now, right here, they did the opposite. They're like, okay, the tank's in front of me, but I'm going to jump over him, get the support, and then I'm going to gank his ass afterwards, you know.
Right, yeah, keep it pushing.
I'm gonna do something sneaky like that. So that's what you have to do in this tier. You can't do that stuff in the lower tiers. Like you got to go after the support from behind, and just you have to be able to know when to switch off the support that you're using to better adjust to the situation you have. Like when they had Winston jumping on them. You can't really go as Ana or Zenya. Somebody with low mobility, you got to have somebody who can get out of dodge quickly. When the top 3 are Lucio, Mercy, and Moira, in my opinion. Baptiste is also very effective because of his immortality field, but that's also not a guaranteed thing, but it does come in handy in a lot of situations if you time it correctly. I know a lot of people tend to throw that willy-nilly. They'll be like, okay, I got this, I'm going to throw it, but it also has a long cooldown. So you got to be able to time that on point. You can't just throw it casually. Otherwise, a well-experienced and well-coordinated team will see that, okay, he just wasted that immortality field. Now let's go in there and crush them. So like that's something these two teams know how to notice. They know when to capitalize on it. That's what I mean, like how other teams can take notes from this, even ourselves included, where we can analyze what they do, how they do it, and better ourselves to hopefully be as good as they are in the future.
Absolutely. I think we saw a great, since you mentioned it more, like I think we saw a great play. I think the Kabaji was probably playing Baptiste, and he got picked up in a Sigma ult, and he waited until maybe that ultimate moment when they're about to be brought down, and he dropped the Immor, and it saved them. But then, you know, the team met them where they were, and it was unfortunately not enough. But that's like a great use for Immor there.
Oh yes, because that is fantastic Baptiste flair. Because because that's fantastic Baptiste flair. Because like I got told to do that off one of my coaches in a different team, and it definitely helps out a lot. Alright then, because sorry to break up your little chat, but we are ready to go into map 3.
Okay, I'll see you guys after Hollywood.
Let's go. A hybrid map. Ooh, this should be fun.
Oh yes, because Hollywood is a fun map. Not fun for me, but fun for some people.
Yeah, all the maps are fun for the DPS, and all the maps for the support are just long screams into a void.
Welcome.
Well, maybe for you, because I want to with you.
It's always safety for you. Me, the Mercies and the Moyers of the world. It's corners. Corners only over here. Only corners, if I may.
Oh yes, but the main difference is that if you try and kill Moira in the 1v1, because she'll take you down first. She does not mess around.
I've done my fair share of tippy taps on a Moira, but I'm interested in kind of seeing what they're going to come out here with. Since we have some, high ground going on up here, what do you think we're going to get?
I'm predicting a double shield off the defensive team.
Ready for battle.
Okay.
I was wrong, because Sneaky Swayze is a sneaky diva. Because they might not even be defending, they're attacking. Fire me now. Alright.
He's been very strong on the diva, so I think they're really going to try and go for brute force here, while Shark kind of just remains on taking like that.
Is Kabaki not there? Do I need to pause? Let me check the signal just to be sure. Okay, like he's there. Because
also, Pi and the Kabaji both back on Baptiste, and we have Bazi and Wendy, two different supports for their, supporting their main supports. So I think we're going to see some interesting movements going on here.
oh yes, because definitely, because I'd like to apologise for that pause, because my controller turned off. It's very unfortunate. Because that's a big kill on the Shark. Because the Scylla on this soldier, because for the side of Moonfae, always gain value.
Vertigo takes out Chlorine, who's on the Symmetra, and it looks like they hold that first fight from the high ground. I really didn't expect them to go up there to meet them. Usually people try to drag people down from the high ground, but it's truly we get the most advantage. So I think they might have another fight up there if they choose to kind of brawl on them.
Oh yes, because they have now changed to Lionheart, which would I mean, actually, I don't know. I don't know if they were Lionheart before. I thought they were Alyssa, but it's an interesting TP there to put them in a more defensive room. It is not fun with Bob in that room though.
Yeah, I think it'll be just a little bit tight in there for them, but it looks like Bob goes down.
He's crashing the party there, you could say. It's a good vibe in the Vice Utility, it does balance you in. Because once you lose to you on the ball comes, you're not going to have a good time. Because especially when you've got a nerf shatters you in the face.
Like Vertigo and Latimer are tag teaming this room right here, and they're cleaned up.
It's very interesting of clawing with the Symmetra, because it's not getting the most value at the moment. It's not getting the most value at the moment, but I think they're... Well, I think they're attempting... Oh, this is a big saw on the Baptiste.
Oh, they're trying to stagger him.
Yeah.
And they take him out.
It's a bit risky doing that to Baptiste, I don't normally see it.
His mobility is so high, I really thought he might have made it if he had moved quickly, but they didn't seem to want to attack him right away, and so they waited, unfortunately, to take him, so they do have to wait to do like a full regroup here, where I'm sure Chlorine is going to try and get off the Symmetra wall and maybe take a change here.
Oh yes, because very smart play off Moonfae though, to burn more time effect block. Because we are forced in 1 minute 30 left, and this has been a good way to hold so far.
You see the Symmetra wall cutting from doorway to top of point?
Window is news. He has another visor to do it. Does not matter though, because the Symmetra all takes him down. Shark is a big shatter, and he kills both spots. because this looks like it's going to be the cap for Patrick Swayze.
Hello? Anyone out there?
Alright, because looking at the ult economy.
turnaround.
Alright, because looking at the ult economy, because Patrick Swayze had to throw everything in there apart from Diva Bomb, which is the local one line.
Out of the way!
I'm looking on the side of Moonfae, we have Shatter, Bob, and Butter Balls. Because they're probably going to take the high ground Moonfae, which they are. Because I do like the two separate high grounds though they're doing with the tanks up front and the DPS at the back. Very effective. Because
Looks like Shark was on his way up, but
yeah, they're taking the fight to it. That's okay, that's weird because I thought that Patrick Swayze would take that fight, but they did not. That cat is moving though.
I think Moonfae is playing a little safe here, but they do have a Rhine. They could kind of get down there and get a little dirty if they chose so.
Here's the Deadeye of Dragon.
So.
He's golden. He only takes
Wendy
his
just hiding around the corner from Deadeye. She's gonna get away here.
Oh yes, because a tactic of because the tactic of Patrick Swayze because seems to be escorting the McQueen with the Lucio attack. Because this is very dangerous for Moonfae now. Because this is a very good high ground for the attack, and they've TP'd on top. Fantastic use of TP and bomb there to corner them. There's no one pushing cart though. But never mind, the sneaky Swayze is sneaking into the cart.
Yeah, it looks like they wanted to do a bit of recon first. They could kind of just get it around quickly versus maybe keep fighting them. So it looks like they did this a smart thing by kind of taking them out first, pushing them back a little, and then they're going to move point. You know, they're saving time on the back end by taking the fights on the front end.
Oh yes, because fantastic news to the Symmetra, which I did doubt, but that's why Symmetra's good. Because she can get you to where so you can't normally get to.
Shark back there being the shark, just taking out three people.
Oh well, because that was a lot of trades. Because I think that was a big window by Pi on the high ground. Helping she with that fight. Here's Symmetra again taking the high ground. Because this is very good for Patrick Swayze, because they're definitely using their mouth.
Yeah, I think they're making
here's sneaky line to kill the DPS.
Looks like Sneaky Squid is up there doing quite a bit of work, but unfortunately, wow. McCreel kind of doing a little bit of zoning here, but it doesn't find anybody.
Oh yeah, it's just all about zoning at this point. This is looking really bad for Moonfae. They really need to stabilise. They've got Visor online. I'm interested to see if they do that again.
They're moving this point also basically uncontested until maybe like right about here where there's going to be a serious ult dump.
Fantastic sim wall there by Quality. It's not enough to save Shark. Oh, Lucio on the back line. Because there's Dragon killing the Mercy. Diva Bomb comes in. Every ult is being new. Bob is in. Shatter is new. Because now Diva Bomb is new by the attacker. Definitely said that there, Mark.
Try to go back in.
Yeah.
It looks like they're still holding point pretty strong here. They get off
that is a big
shatter.
Shark.
Huge.
Alright, because now we see the ball though. There's still a minute left on the clock, so it's going to be very hard for Moonfae to turn as well. Because all the picks are going the way of Patrick Swayze right now. And that's the cap, there's a minute left.
Patrick Swayze makes it with 1:30 on the clock.
Oh yes, because fantastic for Patrick Swayze, because after a very slow start. But I would like to say... But I would like to say that Shark needs to change his name to... because Shark needs to change his name to Sneaky Shark. Because some of those shatters were ridiculous.
Yeah, just absolutely, just moving very quickly and then finding finding three. He killed 3 people by himself before second point, or third point, excuse me, even like opened the door. He was already back there putting in the work and took 3 people with him.
Oh yes, because that's the advantage of a Lucio Reinhardt comp. Because you can just push into teams.
Ready for battle.
And just get those big shatters, because that comp without Lucio could not. Shark is the MC. Yeah, he's
You know, and
he's definitely something.
Shark in the chat did say he's gonna get people's toes, so maybe he'll continue this for the second round.
Yeah, well, he's definitely on the hunt so far. So many of my friends have just came online. Do not need that in the middle of the cast.
Shark is the boss fight, absolutely. He is a force to be reckoned with. He's kind of giving me, when we casted our other game about Obi-Wan, very scary runs.
Oh yeah, like, that's been like a big thing of the file so far. There's been Reinhardt just dominating people. I like it because we are seeing the May 3 after signing boot there, and on the side of Patrick Swayze we are seeing the Ash Portal. That is a lot of force damage.
Get some dynamite off here.
Oh wow, because there's so many animal names. So because on the side of Patrick Swayze, I've just realised there's a dragon there as well.
The dragon is holding the high ground, a little uncontested here, getting in some free top shots.
Very interesting charge of Shark. He came off the top rope there. But he did take himself out the fight, and now Moonfae is taking the fight. We have seen Azaria for the first time tonight. How would a Shark do
both
this?
Reinhardt being into the stairs, they both get taken out, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's only the May
Dragon does get a little bit of contest there from Zarya, but it looks like she's on her way back up.
She does kill the Baptiste, which is good Swayze, but she needs to not die herself. Oh, the root shield dies. Ashes new. This is
Headshot from May.
This is a very messy fight. There's the top bullet though, with Daddy Torb. With the quick 2 kills to turn the fight back around.
And wow, they get a tick off of that.
Oh yes, but that was a fun.
That was a decent fight there.
Oh yeah, like, you know, I have to give it to Shark yet again. How he turned that fight around, I have no idea. He just came back. And killed Floyd. I'm really liking this turret spot by Patrick Swayze, by the way, in this small room on top of the box. Not seen that before. Oh.
And for anybody joining us, we are 1-1 right now, just so you know.
Yeah, okay, there's Shark again, proving that he is the alpha male. I'm trying to think of a Shark pun.
Alpha Shark here.
He's the apex predator. There we go. That's what I wanted. That's what I was looking for. I apologise for nothing.
You know, I think we might see a little change here. Moonfae is having a decent economy build. They're gonna have everything on mind for this fight.
Oh yes, because I'm very interested to see if we see the old snow globe combo of Melee or Bezaria. Because very aggressive stuff or whatever. Alright, because they have like every button. Sneaky swing with a big 8 on the grab though. Alright, because they still have the mail and window, but...
Wow, so Pi, Dragon, and, Chlorine just used the window there, Torb ult, and they got such a decent clear with Baptiste there. They are setting back up.
Yeah, like that is... Is Shark gonna charge with this high ground again? He looks like he's setting up for it. Because obviously he's just gonna stay there to shield the top.
Looks like Baptiste is
no,
keeping
he's
his eyes
charged
on
in.
Sneaky Squid.
Diva Bomb is
Sneaky Squid doesn't find anybody, but Bob finds Wendy. Shark finds control, and he is in there swinging for the life of it. He's gonna.
It's a very difficult fight to keep track of. There's stuff happening all over.
They are going to go and get Vertigo, and they are on their way back to point.
This is a very ideal push, but with the Lucio it gives you the ability to do so. And with 20 seconds on the clock, it's going to be hard for Moonfae to get back.
We do see a last minute change here from Latimer. He does go over to Hog here.
Yes, that is a very interesting pick, because maybe he feels that he's getting focused down too much. He's getting pummeled by the Sneaky Switch, eats the mail. Another big eat of Sneaky Switch. Fantastic play of Sneaky Switch in the last 2 team fights, because they grab and the mail.
Sneaky Squid looking for the support. He is on it. 100% protected by the
Oh no, the hammer kill!
Hammer kill!
Oh, you hate to see it while you're doing that's the way. Because Window is used by Pi with his tulip.
And they hold
That was
Patrick Swayze.
That was a fantastic hold by Patrick Swayze, because that's a very unorthodox comp, but they definitely made it work.
Play of the game.
I don't know. I think Sneaky Squid is the one we should be worried about. Shark was the fierce, but Sneaky Squid is truly sneaky squidding his way around.
That shot ability is just... I can't even describe it, honestly. That's just...
Gets a quad.
Yep.
Brutal.
Okay, just give me a second. I need to check what our fourth map is, because I'm a bad caster. We are going to New Banny for the fourth map, and the score now is 2-1 to Patrick Swayze, because we're also heading into match point.
Well, we're getting some changes in Chaos. Any thoughts about Patrick Swayze's abilities to, like, reset? What do you think?
It was amazing to see. That was like you both said, that was a very unorthodox team comp that they were running with. The Baptiste ult and the Torbjorn Molten Core was something I have not seen in recent times happen before. It's something I may have to test out with my own friends in competitive and see how that works out, because that really worked out in their favor. Full hold from Hat-Trick on that first point, and that point is a little difficult to hold at times. I know from attacking, it could be sometimes easy to break through that choke point, and sometimes it's difficult, but for Moonfae it was difficult for them to bust through there, but they gave it their all, so I commend them for that. Both teams still being at the top two tiers, bringing everything they got, and it's a lot to take in. I mean, it's very fast-paced, like we all anticipated it would be. It's they use different team comps that most of us don't usually use before. We usually go the traditional, like, say, Reinhardt Orisa or Orisa Sigma type comps. They're using different combinations that I have not seen in the lower tiers before, and they make it work just because their communication's on point. Their just their skill level, they're on point. They know what to do. They know who to target. They know when to switch off. They know how to utilize their ultimates to maximize its capabilities. They have the map well figured out. They know where things are. They have an idea as to where people are going to go as far as what routes. And something that we saw when Hat-Trick was on the attack, they had the payload about halfway to the second point, and we seen them go up top across the buildings, like across the ladder, and they teleported to the other side, taking out Moonfae and then going back to the point. That's something that a lot of Tier 1 to Tier 3 teams don't do. They just stay on point and just move the cart altogether. A lot of Tier 4s and 5s, they'll do that, how you said, to push the enemy into their spawn and then keep them right there, because they only have 3 exits from where their spawn is to get back to that second point, and it's a very small door on all 3 sides, so they covered each door. They had one person covering the 2 doors on the right and the rest of the team on the left. So they pretty much kept the Diva on point to move the cart while they had other 2 doors secured, keeping Moonfae at bay. So it's stuff like that that a lot of teams don't recognize. I don't think it's because they don't know the layout of the map. I just think it's something they don't think about at the time. That their main concern is moving the cart, which is the most important thing on maps like this, is moving the payload all the way to the end. But you have to kind of analyze in the moment where you are. How can you get that cart to the end relatively easy? That way you're not going out of your way to make it more difficult for you. So they know the maps. So going into Numbani, another hybrid map, I'm expecting to see somewhat of the similar type things that we've seen on Hollywood, where they analyze the map to see what routes each team has to take to get to the capture point, and then if they do capture it, what routes they have to take to move it to the first checkpoint and then to the second to cap it. So they really got to put a lot of thought into it, and they know what they're doing. But as far as the next coming weeks that I see for the semifinals And the losers bracket, a couple of the maps that I'm really excited to see, which is a lot of people's fan favorites, is King's Row. I know that's that's literally everybody's top map. Like, there's no map in the game that's ever been released that's ever been better than that map. It's just, I don't know what it is, but just the way that map is designed, nothing can beat it. So
we're looking at you, Paris. Better never make your way back in here. I don't think I've ever met anybody who was like, oh, King's Row. It's always like super just. So I'm glad to see it kind of get into circulation, especially here when the games get a little bit more intense. We're going to see some higher level play styles going on, and everybody has fun on King's Row. I mean, who doesn't?
Yes, I mean, King's Row, Havana, Oasis, Anubis, and Ilios will be the maps that are featured next week for the first round of the losers bracket. And then for the week after that, we'll have the round 2 and semifinals at the same time. So we will see who makes it into the finals 2 weeks from now. But then after the semifinals, we have another bye week for the finals, where we'll have the round 3 of the losers bracket, which is the equivalent of the semifinals, where we will see who advances from there onto the finals to face the winner who was already there. So we basically have 2 semifinals back-to-back. It's just one each week. The first week is the team that advanced through their tier, and then the losers bracket being the second tier, we'll see who advances from there back up to the finals. That's how I was saying, no matter who wins or who loses tonight, they still have a chance to come back and make it all the way to the finals. So since we're going into match point with Hat Trick in the lead right now, Moonfae can still turn this around. I've seen a lot of games go back and forth where it's like 1 win, 1 loss. Me and Jack have even seen some games where it's a clean sweep, where it's been 2 wins and then the other team just sweeps them under the rug for 3 wins right after that. So Moonfae isn't out of this yet. They can still win on Numbani and on Busan. But something that I don't believe any of us have seen happen before is when a game hits 5 rounds, but if there's a tie, say if there was a tie that happens on Numbani right now, what would happen is, no matter who wins on Busan, it would be tied 2-2. So we would enter into a 6th map, which would be another control point. So that map would be a toss-up. It would be chosen at random, so to guarantee a winner. But that's something none of us, I don't even think Queen, has ever seen happen in this season. But if there was ever going to be a game that went to 6 rounds, it would be Tier 5, in my opinion, just because of the skill that both teams bring to the table here. So that would be a very long game for us tonight if it reached that point. But it'd be something I would love to see, since I did see a game go to 5 rounds. I think me and Jack casted that game, I'm not entirely sure. Or it may have been just me. But,
yes, that was Crimson Dragons versus Hydra in the first week, I believe. Because which is the map 5, and both teams are ready, so we are going to go into Numbani. Because, sorry to cut you off, but both teams here.
No, you're fine.
Patience.
Alright. You have
let's
fun
see.
Numbani, and I'll join you guys afterwards.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a tie, maybe we won't. But let's see. Hit it, Jack.
Oh yes. Oh yes, I will say one thing though, because I think we're going to see a lot more Winston off the side of Hat-Trick Swayze, because Gecko is back in.
And did we lose the shark?
Yes, we lost
did we
the
bring
shark.
A shark with us?
I'm very upset about losing the shark. We also lost the dragon. It's not fair.
See, what are you gonna see now? But you do get to keep Pi. That's a win. I don't know what kind of Pi he might be, but you know, at least we have that with us.
Oh yeah, well he's a bat Pi at the moment, with the bat flare we've seen so far.
Yes, and we do have a common pool chemical. We have a lot of different things going for us. Maybe a remote control with control. You know, who knows what we have going on here, but it looks like we're going to get to some picks.
Oh yes, because it should be easy to make a fun with Gecko, but I just can't do it. But I just have not got the mental ability at this time of night to make Gecko fun.
Incoming in 30 seconds.
This is a very, very weird defensive comp of Hat-Trick Swayze. With the Ball, Diva, Tracer, Soldier, Zen, Brig.
Yeah, I think personally for me, seeing a Brig and Zen together make me a little sweaty, but they are tier 5, so they probably know what they're doing here. So I think we'll see some interesting plays when they come together with Wendy and Kabaji playing Lucio Mercy for...
It is sort of interesting though, because Moonfae are playing the Diva Ball, which is a very dive on the one. Because we are also seeing the return of the father of the father's sea, because we've won them the first match.
We have a couple slams from Gecko here, and Vazient does not find Cecilia quickly.
Yeah,
we do get a res, unfortunately, from Wendy.
Oh yes, that was great DM play of Latin with that to cover the res. I'm not sure who to watch. There's just a lot of stuff going on here.
Well, I think we look at Kizio over here. He's doing some poking on the right with Gecko, and they're making it very hard for them to reach their other teammates.
Very nice sin he's got there with the Shanghai Dragons also. Oh, he just died too, can imagine. Sneaky Swayze with a sneaky kill on the mercy. I think someone just got booted from that. Yep.
Hi. Out here handing out boops left and right. Finds Latimer, unfortunately.
Oh yes, because he knocked the entire mech off there. That was not just the baby. Because this is great defensive play of Hat-Trick Swayze though, because they use very unorthodox comps, but they're clearly very well skilled. Right, here comes the
It's very smart Brigands then hiding in the back here, kind of making sure they're not in that far as island, but she's looking directly at them.
Oh, here we go, the sneaky hog is coming up though. He does kill the Tracer, but he is forced to back off. Because that's what
on the bottom here, kind of making it hard for each other, but Gecko does get taken out here.
It does look like it's going the way of Moonfae. Those early times. Here comes the Warrior Zone. We could see transcending progress if they feel it's winnable. Soldier is moved by the Soldier. Beat is also moved by Kabaji. Moonfae really wants this fight.
I don't think Hat-Trick Swayze is going to let this go very easily either.
Oh no, but there's the
double barrage.
And that looks like it should do the time. Because that was a big investment of Moonfae though, and it was in every ult. Alright, but they are coming up on Valkyrie and Whole Hog, and on the side of Hat-Trick Swayze, who had to use both support ults, and still lost the fight. Because they're going to have Visor and Diva Bomb. Alright, because the game has slowed down a bit because of Hat-Trick Swayze group up. But it will speed up again very shortly, I imagine.
We do have Latimer in the front here, kind of taking a peek around to make sure that they're kind of holding the front line here, but it looks like Gecko's on his way to point and quickly getting the pick on Celia.
I actually do like the hog pick, to be honest, because it's very hard to kill the hog, because there isn't a lot of damage on the side of Hat-Trick Swayze.
Yeah, with his own breather, he's like half support, half DPS, half tank, all fear.
Oh yeah, because he just needs to avoid the discords, and he should be very hard to kill. He's just dominating controlling that player, so.
Yeah, he's moving and grooving. There's Zen is making sure he's
he's
well
also,
cared
he's also
for with
pushing
the orb.
hard. He does it all. Oh, nice, nice.
He's doing it all.
I like sneaky squid with a sneaky bomb. With a sneaky kill.
Together, Visor and Bomb find 2 people. Sneaky Squid also takes out the Zen. And looks like
it's just not a fair match
here.
of the Diva versus the Zen. Nobody wants to see that. Because that's like being hit by a train as a Zen player. Right, okay, because we do have a couple lives online though. And Soldier is down, because it is great for Moonfae. Because let's watch the Fowler, he's setting up for the barrage on the 2-4.
Control
But
takes
sneaky
out
Swayze.
Gecko.
Bit of a ball dip there, as I think some people would say. I'm still watching the power. He needs to do something. He needs to do something soon with the Fowler because the rest of her team is falling. She dies instead, and they're doing to a full reset. Double headshot of quality. That is not easy to do in a pharmacy.
Yeah, it seems like maybe Moonfae is getting a little slowed down here. Do you think they should make any changes, or should we look forward to kind of their role here? But Cecilia does pick up McCree, so we do have a change.
Yeah.
But do you think there's anything else they could do?
Like, because not at the moment, because they have too many ults. Because maybe get off the hog, but I don't know what they go to personally. Because the biggest issue at the moment for them, because of this high ground, because with the Zenvig Soldier Diva just protecting each other, that's very hard to play. Because Fowler can't get in there to do anything, so very smart play. Here comes the Welly. Oh, wonderful kill by Pi. This is just a very hard comp to solve. That's one way to do it though.
Looks like we're doing some crowd control down here from both balls, so this is going to be a dangerous point to touch here.
It's a ball battle, but control wins in the ball, and that's the count.
But they do make it.
Oh, because Wendy just walked into the mines.
Poor Wendy.
Yeah, we've all been there as Mercy.
Yeah. Sometimes you just don't see the one like right over your shoulder and you get bonked like right on the side.
It's the hitbox on mine is too big in my opinion.
Agreed. How does my whole wingspan count?
Like, because they still have the barrage, and it's going to be a lot easier to get barrage off on this more open point.
But Virgo is going to have to be careful because Vazient does have trans, so if he chooses to do so, he's going to make sure he has to go first before he pulls the trigger.
I think it is possible to kill through the fans though, if you focus one person. Don't quote me on that though. Oh, that no kills the get-go. The fans is forced out. We are probably going to see this in the live stream. I feel like I've been saying this for the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to get into position here to kind of throw it off, but they are all aware of what's coming, so they're trying to quickly get rid of him.
I think we're about to see it. That's the get-go. He is ward kill. It makes no difference though because Pauline is cleaning up yet again. But that one gets a kill on the Tracer. Sneaky Switch kills Wendy yet again.
Latimer's gonna get his last couple of hits in before a final regroup here, hopefully from Moonfae.
Oh yes, because Moonfae do have a decent ult economy though, because with Mines, High Noon, and Transcendence. Because compared to Hackett Swayze, you just have the Visor.
Yeah, I think if we can get Wendy a little bit of damage here, she can probably also get Valk up and they will walk in with, what, 4 ultimates here to kind of throw at the point, but somebody's gonna have to touch and it's gonna be control.
Yeah, he's gonna do his
last minute touches!
Transcendence is 4. Rose is 4. Pauline does not care. He will not be
Chlorine
stopped by
takes off Vertigo.
The window is news by Pi. He gets killed by Ratner on the Sneaky Hog. The Sneaky Hog is getting the kills. Fantastic hold by Gecko on the ball Mercy. Wendy needs to be careful. Fantastic dodge by Wendy to dodge the full
Looks like Wendy and Control are doing all they can, but they could not keep up with the Tracer. They pushed him off point there. That was a little scary.
I don't know how that was a C9 because it looks like controlling the ball was such an over the quick. That's very interesting.
I really think the game just decides on what they think is a touch and not a touch at random, and then we all just suffer for it. I'm pretty sure that's how that works.
Oh yes, believe me, I know that because you played with me in control enough to hear my complaints about I touched multiple times. But
exactly.
I think. Oh yes, but we do blame that on a Yuping also. Well, I do. It's always a Yuping.
In the EU, you were there, but in the NA, we also thought you were there.
Yeah, but Overwatch is a quill mistress at times. Are we gonna see? Are we gonna see a Sigma Hog?
I think we are. Latimer's gonna stick to the Hog, but instead of Ball, Control picks up the Sig. Vertigo does switch from Widow to Soldier.
I'm a bit.
So they're not gonna keep it.
I wanted to see the Widow.
I too. I think Vertigo has been trying to maybe see if the Widow might work. He did choose them before in a different map, but then also ended up probably deciding to go for another character. But I would love to see it.
It's a very classic dive on the side of Patrick Swayze, you know, because Gecko's on that Winston. Because Gecko's on that Winston, I got them a Water J on Gibraltar, and Ginzo is on Genji, so I'm interested to see if you see a Nano Blade or the Nano Winston. Because it's always nice to see the bodyguard Blade also. It's not nice for the other team, but it's really nice for the Ana. Right, here we go, because Gecko is saging for his dive. There's no one there to dive though, I don't think he knows this.
Oh, Chlorine taken out by Latimer, far point on the right, coming all the way coast.
He's definitely causing issues, this Hog. Oh, okay, he just got another kill.
And Vazant as well. He has 2 in the pocket so far. It looks like,
yeah,
Patrick Swayze is gonna go for a regroup here.
He needs to get punished because he's reminding me of the tier 3 fight of Night Owl's Elite, because it also does a lot of this Hog plays out. Alright, because Moonfae wait for their moment. They kill the Soldier, but it's not a fun time for them. It's very good Winston counter Hog actually, because you can just fuck
Looks
the
like Wendy might be bold with a res here too, and she does pull back Vertigo here.
I think that is a good res because they did lose immortality to ensure it, and they had the Sigma shield. So.
Well, yeah, there was that Genji up there flipping around for a little bit. It looked a little scary, but he ended up taking a leave, and Wendy was able to pull off that res.
Oh yes, this is tier 5. Remember, the Mercy players have no figure.
Very bold.
Yeah.
Bold group of people up here.
This is looking very difficult for Patrick Swayze, but they have kind of discoms.
Looks like Patrick is going to go and try and get a little high ground poke. Squid does not make the jump, unfortunately. They miss that initial first jump, but they do make it to first round here.
Very interesting in SWAT, because of Hog controlling this one high ground while the rest of his team has the traditional high ground. He's just not having a fun time, Gecko. The damage boosted Soldier is just proven to be too much.
Yeah, Gecko has been really trying to get to scramble this high ground around, but they really are just meeting him every time.
He's gave up on the Winston and went to Whistle, which I think is a better pick, because they're probably going to try and take this high ground off the Hog. Actually, I don't know where the Hog has went. Okay.
We do have Sneaky Squid kind of around the back of point, if being hunted back here by Latimer. They probably got a little stuck, and so now they got to find their way out.
This is an interesting fight, which I'm going to have to wait for that time. Because this outgave Gecko the high ground now.
I think there might be a little bit of a stagger here from Latimer on Diva. Yep, Sneaky Squid.
But the Genji is ready though. This is going to be a difficult blade though. Oh wow, it's fantastic
taking
by
a nap.
there. Fantastic purple of Angian. This is looking very dangerous to Moonfae with a minute left. He's falling though with the value. He gets hooked though. Latimer is swept.
Moonfae is giving Patrick a run for their money with this fight right here. Like, neither contesting neither high ground, but...
It's a big kill on Ana by Cecilia. Larry is Moonfae back. Oh, big double kill after Thomas.
Sneaky Squid is up here guarding the body, and uses the bomb to kind of
it's a
make
very
space for
interesting wall
herself.
we had there with Kayed and Soldier. Oh!
See if they can get Pi out of here.
It's very much a Blink Callie at the moment. Because who needs a Reinhardt when you've got Blink? And that's
Like the last minute to get a flip.
I can't believe that. I can't believe that one. No, sorry. I need to readjust myself because I can't believe Patrick Swayze managed to capture that.
You know, I figured it was going to really lean in the direction of Moonfae. It looked very solid, but those last 30 seconds really changed the game so much. It's like, what were we doing for the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds if the 30 seconds at the end is really where it changes?
Alright, okay, because Hibachi has the window, so he'll probably try and use this early to stop the... to solve the momentum of Swayze. Alright, because we do see another blade. Because there's no nano this time, he's doing a warthog. He got very lucky there that the hook broke. Oh, the warthog is getting bullied by both DPS. But he kills the DPS. The power of warthog cannot be underestimated. Control is down as well.
Eastwood is moving this point. We do have a blade and hog ultimate coming through the back room here.
Yeah,
the point is still moving.
He doesn't need to though. His team is not killed because Vamsian on the Zenyatta is getting a lot of value. Fantastic that Swayze. High. He's been proving it all night.
I think Swayze is come. They were maybe a little, you know, long-term planning going on, but it seems like they're rolling on that plan now.
It was definitely the swaps at the right time because I think the swap to Zenyatta and the Wither is helping them to have more control. Alright, because we do see Cecilia on the 100. Big bomb that takes out Wendy. They just keep forward. Transcendence new. Patrick Swayze wants to end this game right now. And
Latimer in the back, maybe doing a bit of contesting. Maybe he can hold on until we can get a touch here from Moonfae. It doesn't quite look like they'd make it.
Over because Patrick Swayze take it 3-1, but that saw line does not tell the whole story. Alright, okay, but Moonfae are not completely out. They do get another chance.
Absolutely. Chaos, can you tell us who Moonfae will be shaking hands with next week on the field?
Yes, I can. Next week, we will see... Next week we will have Moonfae going up against Red Yokis in the first round of the losers bracket for Tier 5. And then the winner of that... Well, actually, from what I'm seeing, they are the only two teams that are in the Tier 5 losers bracket because there was 4 teams, but the other 2 teams are no longer with us. So those 2 will play in the first round, and actually the winner of that will move on to the actual final. So they really only have 1 game in the Tier 5 bracket for the losers bracket. So Moonfae will face Red Yokis, and the winner of that match will go on to face the winner of Ohana Beach and Hat Trick Swayze in the semifinals. Actually, no, wait. Sorry, I got that mixed up. Moonfae will face Red Yokis, and the winner of that will go on to face the loser of Hat Trick and Ohana Beach. And then the winner of that game will go on to face the winner of the semifinals. My apologies, I got it mixed up there for a second. But as far as that game went, that heavily looked like Moonfae was going to take it on the second half because they held it all the way up until the last 30 seconds. It really comes down to where sometimes teams get a little overconfident, I think, where they think the match is already won and they tilt their head in the opposite direction a little bit is the way I try to compare it. And the other team sees that and they're like, okay, go. Now, they have their head turned at us, just go in there and bum rush them, and that's what Hat Trick did, and it worked. But keeping that high ground up top for Moonfae was what they needed, because as long as a team has the high ground like that on a map like Numbani, it makes it very difficult to cap that point. Because if you're on point and they're above you, you got no way to take them out. So they had the right idea the whole time, is staying up top, keep shooting them from afar. So it's just Moonfae, I think, grew maybe a little overconfident, but maybe not. Maybe Hat Trick caught them off guard for half a second. But either way, I was thoroughly impressed with both teams tonight. Gecko, Wendy, and a few others, the MVPs of tonight's game. I mean, I always try to give the supports the credit they deserve because they're not on the front lines fighting as I've discussed with Jack myself. The supports they're not on the front lines battling it out, but they play a crucial role in this just as much as the tanks and the DPS. I know they get a lot of the credit for opening the door and giving them the leeway to get on the point or capture an objective, but every role has a crucial role in every map. There's no set point saying, okay, I'm the most valuable player. Yeah, you may get the most kills and damage and whatnot, but still, each role, you can't win the map without all three roles. You need each one for a crucial component to win the map. So, phenomenal gameplay from both teams, and I can't wait to see Hat-Trick Swayze go up against Ohana Beach.
Oh yes, because we do have something special tonight, actually. Because we are going to have a post-game interview. Because we've Hat-Trick Swayze.
Very nice. We haven't had this happen yet.
Yeah.
Do we get an pie or do we get an animal? Because I am jazzed right now.
Alright, because I'm talking to the Captain Conway. We're getting a shark. Oh,
yes!
my favourite.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's like a celebrity
sighting.
sighting.
Yes, it's my 2 MVPs, actually. Because we are getting Vanzian as well, with some great Ana flavour. In my opinion, but it's very hard not to give MVP to Pie. Okay, I will invite them to the group.
I think personally for me, if I was to go for MVPs, Wendy was very strong on the Mercy tonight. Her and Control doing that little bit of contesting. Amazing flight patterns from her as Mercy, but I think that also I was a big fan and absolutely terrified of Shark. I will make sure to stay out of the ocean from now on in case he's in there.
Okay, just give me a second.
I mean, I have to agree with Wendy. My team actually played up against Wendy when she was in Tier 3. So I was trying to mimic my Mercy skills up against her, and it was quite difficult to mirror the super jumps and just the overall mobility that she brings to the table. So she did better than me when we went head-to-head in our game during the regular season. They did come out on top against us, but we still gave it our all. So I know how good she can be on the support class, not just Mercy in general, but across all the supports. So I know what she brings to the table each time. But Shark, yeah, what he brings was terrifying.
Scary stuff.
Alright, because here's my personal favourite of the night, Shark, because I'm trying to get in Vanzian, but I'm having some issues. Okay, because I don't know if anyone else wants to try and invite them. Oh, actually, maybe if I swap them to spectators, I can do it. That might be right.
While Shin gets that sorted out, Shark, to start off the question that I have, where did you learn your abilities for getting up to Tier 5? Where did you practice in just regular competitive, the practice range? How do you prepare for games like these?
Well, I normally just do comp on my main account, practice that, or I have my buddy that is also Tier 5 and 1v1 me for a couple hours or a couple rounds to practice all shatter and techniques.
And when, say when you were first getting into the game, did you watch any streamers, or you just went in there and just played regular quick play and competitive to learn the mechanics of each character? How did you become adjusted to each of the roles?
Really, when I first started the game, I went to every single role, seeing which one I liked the most, and then I found Reinhardt, and then I just kept practicing, and everyone I went up against that would either beat me or really show me how to play Reinhardt, I took lessons from them and kept doing that in my own games, try to get better at it.
And as far as communication wise, as far as call outs and knowing when to push in, that's just something you learn just from as you play, or did somebody help you with that as well?
I learned that a little bit going along with my time as playing Reinhardt, but I did have a couple of my buddies also watch my gameplay and my call-outs be in my party to help me fully understand how to work with the team to make sure that I don't leave no one behind.
Because being Reinhardt and being the main tank, you're at the head of the line. It's your job to keep everybody in the fight and knowing when to pull back, when to push forward. It's a big job you have on your shoulders, being any main tank in this game. So it's like if you had to offer advice to anybody who's in the lower tiers for any Reinhardt mains or any tank mains in general, what would you offer them? Like a big play, like do you rely on your team to bring those shields down? Do you try to maneuver around it? What do you do in that case?
Well, usually, like in that play of the game, the Reinhardt had shield the whole time. Went off the play because I baited the flashbang out because that was the only thing that could stop me. Because I go for sound and I heard the Zarya bubble go off, so I knew there was no way for him to block it. You just have to either tell your team that you want to push in and have a Zarya or a backup just in case, because I always bring one person with me. Or if you're in a big fight in open ground, then you usually have them focus Reinhardt out first, or try to get the secondary abilities out, like Zarya's or Flashbang.
Yeah, so you gotta bait a lot of the abilities that can stop you, whether it's a Zarya ult or a McCree flashbang or something that can take you out before you use your Earth Shatter. So it's very, you got to time it right on just to get that nice 4 or 5 man Earth Shatter that you're looking for. For people that sometimes use like an Earth Shatter on 1 to 2 people, do you ever believe that's wise? Like if it's on supports, for example, would you recommend that or no?
If it's on a support in team fights, it's always a great decision. There's Solo Shatter, a healer, of course, because it's less healing for the main tank or anybody, so they have to pull back immediately. I do it all the time when I'm fighting Reinhardt. It's like, I won't shatter him, I'll go for the Ana. It gives me a better chance of winning the fight. Any Solo Shatter that stops the mobility or ability to help them win is a great decision, no matter where it is.
Light, Jack, you have any other input that you want to offer?
I just want to say that I hope I'm never good enough to play against you, because horrifying. Okay, he's getting triples and quads left and right and relentless Reinhardt. Like, does your team kind of trust you to play like that? Because, I mean, it seems so obviously, yes, but are you kind of, like, guiding them through the process, like, alright guys, I'm about to go, like, whack off 3 people, or are you just kind of, like, you know, going for it and they're, like, right behind you? Like, how do you guys kind of plan for your aggression level, I guess?
Usually, well, when they put me in the game, everybody already knew I pin straight in. Like, I'm a head-on Reinhardt. So, I just talk to my Lucio. Lucio is key for me, and healers are in my off tank. Anyone else, I say you can do whatever you want. I just need those 3 people to be with me at all times, because the whole time I was directing Lucio when to amp me or speed me. So that's the only way I could get around that map. Besides that, it was really just a matter of letting my team let me know when they're pushing in and what angles they're pushing, so I knew that I wouldn't mess up a pin or overshoot it.
Okay, yeah. Did you guys, like, does your team usually plan for what Jack and Chaos and I were noticing is that you guys weren't really too concerned about the point. Like, for me, I'm like, somebody needs to be touching it, like, all of the time, but it looks like you guys were more planning of, like, we need to hold them so we can have somebody push it, versus, like, you know, everybody piling on, which tends to happen in lower tiers quite often. So I'm wondering, do you guys, like, usually plan for, like, okay, well, 1 person back here, and we're gonna just kind of clean this up, and then keep it moving? Because it looks like you guys were doing that very well.
Yeah, we normally keep no one really on point unless the main tanks are on point, because it just limits our movement. We couldn't get around the map because we have to keep high ground away from them at all times. So we leave point vulnerable, so whenever they make the jump, we still have high ground.
Yeah, that's a great plan, and I am absolutely amazed and horrified. But yes, thank you for answering my questions. We really appreciate it, and congratulations on the win. Jack?
Yeah.
Oh, right, because I've got nothing else to say. Because I've got nothing else to say, but I've got nothing else to say because apart from I enjoyed doing shark puns with your name after your fantastic plays, I had a lot of fun with that. Oh yes, because I especially enjoyed your charges off the little lift thing on Hollywood into their back line.
Those are all new to me. I was just trying new stuff out that whole round, seeing how far I could go.
And see, that's even scarier because he was just testing stuff. That's the unpredictability level was so high.
Yeah, that pin I got played the game off of. I meant to go on the high ground. I messed it up, and I went on the bottom. And I don't realize my team saw it and they made fun of me in the chat though. I pinned a room thinking the runner was gonna follow me. I shattered a wall and I just looked at it for a solid. I looked at it for a solid 10 seconds and then I walked out and killed the May in sadness.
Yeah, well, that's the life of Reinhardt. It's
Yeah. My team usually just lets. My team
Yeah.
usually just lets me do whatever I want, and if I die, they get a backup plan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah,
They
well
say
you
just
know,
keep running
because a
live.
dominating Reinhardt can win most games if the other Reinhardt could not match it. And the other
Oh, yeah.
Reinhardt definitely could not match it on Hollywood. It's
You
fair
have
to
to
say.
keep making them predict what you're gonna do, because if you're too predictable, then he'll run over you.
Oh yes, like you didn't even know what you were going to do sometimes, so
Oh no.
I'm sure he didn't
No,
know.
half that map I was guessing when the amp around corners and shattering.
Wait, because it looks like he's going to the high. Nope, no, he's not. He's going. Okay, look, he took the elevator, but then he got down. You know, lots of moving parts right there, but that really kept us and them on their toes. So holy cow.
Yeah. The best part was I just looked at the elevator, looked up and down, I pinned Diva and got out of mech and I stood there.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. That was nice.
Yeah. I wasn't even planning on taking
Amazing.
high ground. I just got to scare him enough to get him off of it.
Oh yeah, because it's always nice to interview a Reinhardt player because they definitely have the most personality and confidence. Because it makes for a good interview.
Oh yeah,
that's for
you
sure.
gotta have confidence. You can't be
Oh, yeah.
scared to push in.
Oh yeah, believe me, I know because like I play with Masters Reinhardt sometimes, and it's very nerve wracking as a support player. Just charges
Oh,
in
yes.
without lime or reason.
Oh yeah, my
It
team
works,
tells
though.
me every time. My team tells me every time they're playing support with me, they literally have heart attacks every time I pin.
I can imagine. I can imagine because like I'm a support main myself, and I was having heart attacks just watching you.
Well, you know, he's around corners and things already, so by the time you turn around, either he's already there or he is already gone, and that is the scariest stuff.
Oh yeah, my Anna told me one time because she was like, "Oh, you ready to go?" And all of a sudden, she turned around. I was already gone. I was already halfway across the map.
That's what I'm saying.
It's always fun playing against friends because they'll just hear me slowly walking up to them.
How do you avoid a building, you know? It's like a moving building, and it has a hammer. Like,
Yeah, and a charge ability you can't escape.
right, like, because it's like every time we kind of looked at you, there was like a quad, there was a triple, and it's like,
Yeah,
do you
it's
see where the
crazy.
rest of the team is and where he is? He's just... I'm waving my arms around very dramatically, but you know, he's over there already, and then, you know, he's back, and they get the point, and it was like a lot of different things. Like, even in the chat, they were like, "Oh my gosh, the shark has arrived," and I'm like, "What are we about to see here?"
Oh, yeah.
This is my one map to show off. I go back in the shadows.
Oh yeah, I was so disappointed when you got took out. I have to be honest.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, though, that whole game, when they put me in, they were like, "This is a dive map. What are we going to do with shark?" I said, "Just give me a sim TP. I'll make it work."
Oh yes, that reminds me because I was doubting the sim at first because you were still going to get first point, but once you got first point, because the TP players were fantastic.
Oh, what really killed me though was whenever we were pushing point second, when he put up my sim wall, I said, "TP me high ground." He didn't do it right. He got it killed. So I said, "I'll do it myself and go to 3K."
An independent Reinhardt who don't need no Symmetra. Isn't that something?
I'll take high ground my own time.
Oh yeah, that's the best Reinhardt because the
Oh,
human.
yes.
Alright, because the human highlight wheel is the best way to describe your play tonight, I think. Just highlight after highlight.
I mean, you can't avoid the Reinhardt's not afraid to take high ground by himself.
No, you definitely cannot.
But yeah, congratulations again, and good luck next week too. We're looking forward to. Hopefully, they'll break out the shark. We had like a whole ocean thing going on. We had sneaky squid. We had a dragon. We have a shark. There's a lot of. Jack was a really big fan of all the animals in the game tonight, so thank you for contributing.
I love me some animals. It's...
Yeah, we were letting the small animals out first till they bring in the big one.
I love it. Well, anything else, Jack or Chaos? Because I think we've gotten a great post-game interview. Shark is back in the depths again until next week.
Oh yes, it was a fantastic interview because I'd like to thank you, Shark, for taking the time to do the interview after your game. It was a pleasure.
Oh, yeah, the pleasure's all mine.
Thank you for scaring me into when I hit diamond and just throw.
Hey, I'm saying the toes are mine. I'm telling them, I
yeah,
told
we saw that.
I pointed that out in the chat and I was like, look.
He's on the hunt.
They didn't want to say nothing back to me.
So, anybody watching for next week, make sure to bring your steel-toed boots.
Yep. Alright then, because I think that's everything. Because unless Chaos has got anything else to say.
Nope, that covered everything we needed. It was a long game, about almost 3 hours we've been casting this.
Oh yeah, it's been tons of fun the entire time though.
Yep, so we may be able to do this more often. It was our first experiment with this 3-caster setup.
Yep.
So I think it worked out relatively well, so we'll see if we can do this more often with all 3 of us here. And until next week, we'll see you guys for more Tier 1, 2, and 5 games in the next week of the playoffs.
Alright, good night everyone. Thanks again, Shark. We really appreciate it.
No problem.
Alright, okay then, because I'm going to turn off the stream, and good night to everyone, and thanks for watching.